All right, this is Gap Tooth and we're back. And first of all, I give up. I tried to do the, special videos, fruit taste test, and come walk around Singapore, and it's just not working out. I have to embrace the fact that I am not for prime time content. I'll never be on Ellen or the equivalent of. I'm not an Oprah guest. I'm for midnight and beyond. All right? And that's just how it's going to be from now on. If your ears are too sensitive, then tune out. Nobody's listening to this shit anyway. So I give up. I'm titling this piece Black Trump. Yeah, Black Trump. Because that's how I feel. Listen, I've lived all over the great United States. I've lived in New Jersey. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Miami. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've lived in Atlanta. All right? And I may even forgot somewhere. I feel like I have a right to speak. I feel like I know the people of the country. I feel like I am a son of the United States, even though my parents come from the islands. I was born and raised in the U.S. So why am I titling this Black Trump? Because, walk with me. I'm not going to try to put all of this into a nutshell because people are so programmed that certain words trigger them now. And when they get triggered, immediate, repulsive, instinctual images and words just pop up. And they don't even realize that it's not even coming from their own head. So I'm labeling this Black Trump because, first of all, if you realize they treated Trump like the worst kind of black man from the moment he stepped into office. He had more FBI, Karen situations than any of us have, And the thing is, out of all of those FBI probes and Russia Gate and all of these things like that, and I'm not even into politics. That's the sad part. I'm talking about politics. I'm not even into politics. But out of all of those years and years of different type of probes and court cases and looking into this and that, he still came out clean. That's why I say they treated him like a black man. Treating him like a black man in Walmart accused of stealing who had money in his pocket. I'm not political. I don't follow. I didn't vote for Trump. I damn sure didn't vote for Biden and Harris because I saw that they are more guilty than everything that people accused Trump of. Now, I understand. I really do get it. That, how could you say that? Oh, you a sellout. You're a coon. You're a kiss ass. No. I'm just observing things. You think that, Biden isn't racist? Have you heard his 94 crime bill speech? There was no speech impediment involved in that, by the way. Now, somebody came out. I'm unaware of the gentleman's name. I'll look it up. I'll put it in the. I'll actually add the video in the description box. A well-respected professor broke down what mass psychosis is, and he said, "Look, we're living in a society these days where, 60% of people don't like their job, and they feel like they're not serving any type of purpose. They're just going to work to make money to pay the bills. And a great majority of people don't actually have close friends because of the internet. You have internet people and you have your internet image, but you don't really have those friends like you see on like when you watch Friends, or those friends that you had when you were growing up. These people who you felt like was your brother or your sister, and you knew what they were thinking and you could finish their sentence before they were finished. All of that A great majority of people don't have that in their lives anymore. They don't feel like they're fulfilling a purpose. They're not connecting with other people. They're lonely. And this is causing an anxiety and angst. And this is a floating anxiety and angst. It doesn't really have a home. So what the media does is they step in and they say, hey, we're going to give you a place to place this angst. And then there's Trump. He's racist. He's bad. He's terrible for the world. He's going to start World War III. Putin, he's terrible. He's bad. He's whoever. And then when you focus on these people and the things that they're saying, you find a place to place your angst. And it feels good. You feel fulfilled. Not only that, now you feel like you belong to something. You belong to a great majority of people who are also placing their floating angst and discontent and loneliness and sad and all those things get bowed into one thing, but you can't name it. You don't know really what it is. You're not psychoanalyzing yourself properly. You're not paying thousands of dollars to go to a psychologist. You just have these feelings, and you know when these trigger people's names come up, you know, like a Pavlov dog, to start frothing at the mouth and talking about how terrible they are. Because it makes you feel good. It gives that floating anxiety and angst a place for you to put it. And it's no longer just floating around in your head anymore. And that's what's going on. That's what mass psychosis is. You know, and I can see these things. Listen, do you think it feels good for me to say that I think that freaking Tucker Carlson is making the most sense out of any mainstream media person on television right now or online? I don't watch television, but on mainstream news, it doesn't feel good. I used to look at that guy's face, the face he makes, that fucking face, and I used to want to just smack that stupid look off his face. It used to drive me crazy. It does not feel good for me to say that this guy is the one who seems to be making sense out of all of it. When I turn on CNN or any type of MSNBC or CBS, it's all the same rhetoric. It takes no time to find out who owns these media companies and how they're connected. The same thing, the anxiety, the same thing goes with the C-19 situation. And did you get the juke or did you not get the juke? Or they call jab. And people who didn't get the jab are so bad and so, come on, people. At this point of what's going on in the world, if you are not completely pissed off and ready to crash and crumble every institution in sight, you are deaf, dumb, blind, crippled, and crazy. There is something severely wrong with your thinking meat particles in between your head. You're getting played by the banking system. You've been lied to in the education system since the moment you were born. They've been Santa Clausing you from cradle to the grave. With religion, with politics, with history, with how the world works, with who's the good guys, who's the bad guys, with the reason for wars, jumping on the next, for the Ukraine. Half of America, the U.S., couldn't find the Ukraine on a map if you paid them. Talk about being hoodwinked and bamboozled all of our lives. Rabbits don't lay eggs. All right? They took the concept of Christianity, of Jesus, and they placed it so far away from what it is about. They placed it all the way in the North Pole, freezing, and made a Santa Claus with little elves and flying fucking moose or deers. What the shit does that have to do with religion? They've been doing this to you from the cradle to the grave for generations. If you are not pissed off at every news channel, including Fox and Tucker Carlson, I'm not saying that he's the be-all, end-all. I'm just saying out of a room full of babbling, programming liars, he's just, lying the least. He's just at least making some sense. And I hate to say that. Trust me. What the fuck is going on? I left the United States. You had the courage to leave the United States and move to a foreign country just because you can't. Everything was getting so weird. I'm wondering what music were you people listening to when we were growing up? Because you damn sure wasn't listening to the things that I was listening to. Because when we were growing up, we knew that the news, politics, the police, the history class, we knew that they were all full of shit. Now, politicians are cool. And now it's all about what the news says. You don't realize that. You don't say, oh, I say what CNN says. No, but you don't realize that all of your views of the world match the mainstream media. How could that happen? Especially in places like New York and San Francisco. And this is why I left. Because the most artistic and the most so-called liberal, open-minded, revolutionary places became the most brainwashed, the most judgmental, the most hard of hearing, the most programmed, the most know-it-all, and disgustingly self-righteous places in the country. I don't know what happened. I don't know how things flipped, but the people who were backwards and redneck suddenly became the ones who were the conspiracy theorists, quote unquote, and the ones who were supposed to be artistic and welcoming and accepting and non-judgmental became opposite of all of that and didn't believe in any conspiracies suddenly, when all of it was so in our face. And it was the news that it was, Biden didn't even win the election. The media won the election. It was the media versus Donald Trump, and the media won the election. The guy who's in office, the guy doesn't even know where he is. And his cackling vice president is the laughing stock of the world. Like, come on. You voted for her, because she's a black woman, quote unquote? What does that even mean? I don't care if she's purple or pink with polka dots. What are her practices? What did she do beforehand? You know what she did. She locked a whole bunch of black people up and mothers and things like that. And she stood on the side of the police department. This is what you would think that the so-called, radical right would be. That's what I'm saying. It's so confusing. This woman is oh my God, I'm so confused. I'm disappointed. I'm confused. And unlike you, I'm very, very, very pissed off. I didn't sign up for this. I came to this earth to help awaken people, to rise people's vibrations, to enjoy myself, to be able to perform, to do poetry, to do songs, to make mistakes, to make friends, to make love, to break things and try humbly to fix them, on my knees crying, because that is the human experience. I didn't come to be in this masked up, full of fear, brainwashed, lab created, technologically created disease and cures, controlling everybody's everyday life. I did not sign. I don't know how I got on this timeline. I don't know what's going on. If there are any future time travelers listening to this, I give you my permission to step in and use me to help change this shit. I give you my consent. So anybody listening to this 1,000 years from now and you have time travel technology, come see me. Let's do this. Because I don't know what else. I don't know. I mean, anyway, I'm going to close out with a little story of inspiration. I went to Catholic school. They kicked me out in 7th grade, but that's not the point. Hold on. I remember a few things. One of the things I remember is they taught us about the poem called Xanadu. I don't remember the author's name, but the author was high on opium. This is what the nuns were teaching us. I'm very, very happy. Shout out to those nuns. The author was high on opium, and he suddenly got just struck by inspiration. He grabbed his pen and started free writing an epic poem that begins like this. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alf, the sacred river, ran, in caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. And it goes on and on. It becomes an epic. It's a story. It's an epic poem. And then suddenly, somebody knocks at the door. And he's like, oh, shit, what? He jumps up. He goes, he answers the door, and it's like, you know, it's like a salesman, like, hey, you want to buy this vacuum type of shit, you know? And the guy's like, no, I'm good. Closes the door, rushes back to his pen, looks at the pad, and damn, the inspiration is gone. And the poem, although it's a classic, remained unfinished. Peace and love. Check back in with me. This is Gap Tooth. We're back.
Tell them press like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Zim, tell them to press like and subscribe.
Pull up that song.
Zim, you always forget to tell them to like and subscribe, Zim. Man.